Gotta keep on going. What's up, though, guys? It's Reed Burke,
Christian Ramos.
and you are listening to the Built for Purpose podcast. So, what's been on your mind, bro?
Trying to get through. There's a lot. We were talking about earlier. There's a lot going on, but it is what it is, right? Like,
Right.
dang, it's definitely been tiring. It's definitely been challenging, but so be it. We're
Right.
getting through. Good.
Kind of like the quote of the day today. It's the quote of the day today is James 1:12. Blessed is the man who remains steadfast under trial, for when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life, which God has promised to those who love him. And I love God.
Amen.
Amen. But yeah, man, like that's just handling it and rolling with the punches. Especially, right now I'm going with all this wedding stuff. You always have the family drama and the stresses that go on. Is this done? Is that done? Is this going to be here by then? Like that's been my whole thing recently, dude. Whew.
Yeah. Well, what about that quote stood out to you that you could apply to your situation?
Let's see, what's just the man. So it's like, yeah, a lot is going on in this moment in time with the wedding and planning, and like I said before, you feel like it's
Right.
not going the way that you expected,
Uh-huh.
and it seems like everything's hitting you at once, and it's kind of like God, like what's the reason for this? It's so hard. Like this is supposed to be the best day of my life coming here soon. Like I hope that all this subsides and I can just enjoy the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But as I was sitting there thinking that to myself, it's like, well, like going through all the trials of what happens in life, it's gonna build something beautiful out of it, And what's more beautiful than your wedding?
Right.
Like that's something that you like. Some people like think of your whole life. Oh man, like I wonder who I'm gonna marry one day.
Right.
Like, is it gonna be like who I envisioned as a kid,
Mm-hmm.
or like you never know. That's the kind of the fun mystery of life. You never really know what's gonna happen, but if you have faith in God, it will get you through anything that He puts you through. It's just a part of a bigger picture. You know,
Right.
right now the bigger picture is the wedding for me, man.
Coming up soon. 10 days, man.
Oh yeah, 10 days. Yep. Oh man, May 24th. Whew, that's gonna be a good weekend too, because that's like like for anniversaries, it's always gonna fall around Memorial Day, so there's always gonna be something
Right.
going on.
Right.
Like, yeah, obviously, I'm gonna always want to be creative for my woman, but like if there's a festival going on in like Huron, because Huron puts on a really good festival. I don't know if you've ever been to
uh,
Huron. They have a really good Memorial Day weekend festival, and I believe what's the Labor Day weekend?
yeah.
They have a really good Labor Day weekend one. It might be Labor Day I'm thinking of, but they always like it's right on the water, right in this big marina, and they have this state of the art firework display. Just it's almost like it's pretty equivalent to the Lorraine one, like over at the Mile
Really.
Long Pier, and that's always a show.
That is.
And that's like one of the highlights of the summer, honestly.
Right. You can see all the tax dollars go, huh?
Right, right.
I need to get out the house more. I didn't know that was going on.
Yeah, dude. Well, this summer we could probably head up there, take our ladies up there, and enjoy it. We gotta take you to the trailer too. See the one in Port Clinton we're telling you about. That's where we're honey.
Oh,
That's
right,
where we're
right,
gonna be
right.
honeymooning.
There you go.
Yeah, saving a little bit of money because we're kind of deciding like when do we want to get a house.
Mm,
Like if we get whatever we receive, we'll be blessed at the wedding. But we're looking at either spending it on that trip or just throw it in the savings to get a house. You know what I
yeah,
mean? But we'll see at the end of the day what happens.
got some big boy decisions coming, man.
Yeah, yeah, it's stressful. Trying to put my big boy pants on. They ain't fitting yet.
No, that's good though. But going back to the quote when you sent that to me, it was something that was very impactful for me. But I think it was good. And then sharing what you were talking about earlier today with everything going on, I think it's those who remain steadfast under trial, and then that has stood the test will receive the crown of life. So the crown of life you could kind of implement whatever you want to be. So if you get the ceremony of the wedding, things going good, you get to have this everlasting relationship, whatever the crown of life might be.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing was the last line that stood out to me was which God has promised to those who love him. And more specifically the word promise. I think it could be easy to forget about, what has been revealed to us through God's word, and to just remember that those things will come into play as long as you do the work and you have faith, you put the trust in them. So it was definitely good to hear what you were saying too about, this past couple of weeks and everything building up to the wedding, and to hear your perspective on it and how that verse came into play for you. It helped me to kind of reflect on what I got going on. So it's just
Right.
like, just like I said before, relax, breathe. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Like I can't let the situation overcome my relationship with God, and knowing that God is greater than any circumstance. So I definitely appreciate you sending me the verse.
Yeah.
It's something that was one of those things you read. I'm like, thanks, Reed. I needed that, man.
Right. I felt like it would hit someone this morning too, because like it was like just on my Bible app. I'm like,
Mhm.
wow, thanks God. Like
Right.
I needed this.
Actually, I set the verse of the day later at like 10 a.m. So it didn't come across my phone
Oh
by the
yeah.
time you sent it to me. Because I was like, I had it at 7 in the morning, but 7 in the morning, I'm always up, running around. I'm either trying to make it on time to something, or I'm already doing something for the day. So it's just one of those notifications on the phone to get blown over, which is
Yeah.
terrible to say. So I had to push it back to like 10 a.m. But it was your message was the first time I seen it. I was like,
You're just sitting there, you turn over in the bed, you're like,
man.
I needed that.
Smiling. Thanks, Reed.
That was very nice.
No, but if you want to kind of just go ahead and, I don't know how like specific you want to get into like the whole wedding stuff, but dude, 10 days is it's quick. Like
It's rolling up
I got
fast.
10 days to figure out a whole suit, plan out whatever I want to do.
Right?
But
Have you gotten a suit yet?
yeah, I got one.
Okay, cool.
But like your 10 days is a lot different from my 10 days, man.
Yeah, honestly, it's been like a lot of it's been time like consuming. Like it's been day in, day out, like what can we do today to get the wedding all done? What we did that helped us out like, financially with it is
Mm-hmm.
we actually you ever hear, I think I've told you this about Bid FTA. It's like the Amazon return site.
Oh, right.
So we got like every decor item that we have for the wedding on Bid FTA. And so it's just like we bid on it and we can, if we luck out every now and then getting, that cold plunge over there, I got that for like 50 cents. And that's like $100 thing right there. Which is $100, but 50 cents is probably what they made it for. And so we got like drapes and, the candle, like the plates and all these arches that we're going to be standing behind, all the girly stuff that, I have the luxury of having more available time to help Selena and her mom, who's been so great with helping the whole process and almost being like our designer in a way.
That's good.
They're like putting up these all like flower arrangements and all that. So that's been like the main stress, is just because we're going the route of doing it ourselves instead of doing it like having like another professional come in to do it for us.
Yeah.
So it's a little stressful, but I mean, hey, I help when I can. I let that be the woman. You know what I mean? Like, hey, if you need me to put this decor you designed in this box, all right, I got you. I'll be the heavy labor. And then we've been blessed, honestly, all around. Like, have all the help that we have, like from my dad and from her parents, as far as they're helping out with paying for the liquor and stuff like that. Which traditionally it's the father that pays for the liquor of the wedding traditionally, but who even really follows these wedding traditions anymore? You know what I mean?
I don't even know this.
Right. I'm about to say that's just what I've heard. And her parents helped us with paying for all the food and stuff like that and other stuff, you know, like just like I said, the decor they've helped us out with, and it's a whole lot that you don't think about, you know, like I feel like as a man, you always take yourself out of the picture. It's like, all right, like you guys go ahead and do it. But my girl has been super, super stressed out with all of it because she's at work. She gets off of work at like 5 and is like expected to come straight home and go to her parents to start working on it. And with where she's at right now, like that's she's already exhausted at the end of the day. So it's you know trying to find like the discipline to just get it done and actually set the time aside to work on the little flower arrangements. Make like what we did the other day is I went over their house and all like the tablecloths, candles, and plates, and all the arrangements for each table. We put them all into one box.
Yeah.
So and we put numbers on them because there's going to be like 16 tables at the wedding or whatever. So we have a box. Like once we unpack the U-Haul and we get there, boom, we just put it all on one on each table, and we have what we need. So if there's like 5 people there helping, all right, go empty out a box. Like her mom will set up an example, and then we just follow suit. You know what I mean? So it's all that type of stuff. Which luckily, we actually got the venue the day prior of the wedding,
Okay.
so we don't have to worry the
Yeah.
day, which I highly recommend for your wedding. Whenever that happens, God blesses you, that you make sure that you can have access to that hall or whatever venue the day prior, because the day of the wedding, I don't want to be up at the butt crack of dawn going to set up all the stuff. You know what I mean? Especially because Celine and I are going the route of the traditional where you don't see each other on the wedding day until like she walks down the aisle. So we'll see how, you know. I don't think I'm gonna cry or anything.
Oh, you're
I
not
don't think I
supposed
will.
to say that.
I don't think so, because like that's never really been like my thing. But like I don't know. I might for her. Maybe I'll shed a tear for her or something. You know. But
So, just going back, because you just talked a lot about like having a support group, more or less to say.
yeah.
Like for your guys' situation specifically, how much is that lifted off of your guys' shoulders of having people to willing to help out?
Well, like with her mom's job, she doesn't work as much. Like she has more available time, like how I do, and so she has a lot of like more time to work on all the decor and decorations and stuff like that. So that's a lot of time consuming stuff. That's been the most of the stuff is just sitting there making the flower arrangements and just getting it done so that we can put it in a box and pack it up. So like with her, that's been amazing. And then having help financially here and there, like because the venue we got, it's a New Russia Township Lodge, and it was only $1,000 for the day, and which is pretty good as far as like today's like standards, I guess you could say, because we didn't want to break the bank. You hear people spending $20,000+ on a wedding, which hey, more power to you if that's what you want to do. Everyone has their own opinion, but like for me, I just I want it's gonna be the only day in my life where I'm gonna have all the people that I care for and all the people that she cares for all under the same roof. That's a crazy experience. Right? Like that's what you dream of. Like, oh, these are all my favorite people. Let's make a toast to that. Right. So that will be interesting. But to get back to your question, as far as what's really been helping, like I said, with her mom and my dad paying for the booze and people just lending their time to help put things together. Like we have had get-togethers where I've had like a cocktail party here at the house, and it'll be just the bridal party. So it's all my groomsmen, all her groomsmen, or all her, what do you call them? They're bridesmaids. Bridesmaids, yeah. And they all come over, and we had like a cocktail party where everybody, all the couples or whoever came, brought their own mix of a cocktail, and we voted on which ones we want at the wedding.
Oh, that's cool.
So it was like, a
Yeah.
fun way to, one, because half the people don't know each other.
Right.
So it's like, all right, these guys get to mingle and meet who they're walking down the aisle with, and then also break the ice with some like fun talking cocktail talk and vote like what you want. So that would be fun. We actually got down to a few certain cocktails which are going to be pretty good, and I think people will enjoy them when we're at the wedding. I'm doing like a Sicilian Mule, which is it's like limoncello and ginger beer. It's like have you ever heard of a Moscow Mule?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that, but more. It's like Italian essentially. So it's pretty good. I think you'll like. I don't know what you're into drinking or anything like that, but I mean, I don't drink much, but
Yeah.
when I do, I prefer like, probably Modelo, honestly. But yeah, just having like stuff like that with them, being able to come over and help us out. Like my sister's been a big help, like helping my with and her mom. Obviously, I'm not going to discredit her mom at all. She's been amazing. But my sister helped get a venue for the place that she lives out in like the shipyard area.
Mm-hmm.
They have like this hall, and it was cheap, like not even $100 to rent it for the whole day. So Selena had her uh, bridal shower there.
The actual the shipyard.
Yeah, not the actual shipyard. That's
Oh,
like $14,000.
I was gonna say I thought it was not
Yeah,
cheap.
right. No, it's like that building that has the pool and everything on your
Oh,
way there.
okay.
Yeah, up
Yeah.
top they have like a little like
Okay.
hall, which is pretty cool. I think we'll end up using that for like other like parties, birthday parties, baby showers, and stuff like that. So it's
Mm-hmm.
just really, it was really nice that she was able to offer that for us because boom, like we're not spending $20,000, and that's our goal. That's our end game. We don't want to take out loans and stuff like that. Personally, I'm trying to make sure I'm good financially.
I, I think it's from my perspective too, like just hearing everything that you're talking about, people supporting you, and even for your bachelor party too. Like
That was fun.
it was fun, but outside looking in, I think it's important to remember too, like everybody is here celebrating you guys. And
Right.
at your bachelor party, I was like, I don't know a single one of these dudes. I know of somebody, but
Yeah.
like, dude, we're all just kicking it, having a good time for Reed. And then for now, this upcoming with this wedding, it's just like you say, to have everybody underneath the same roof, celebrating your guys' new journey together, continuing forward, having a life, this everlasting relationship. Like I just hope you're remembering that aspect of it too. Like even though this is your guys' moment, like everyone is there for you guys.
Right. Like I want to make sure I can find a moment to just be with Selena and soak it all in.
Mm-hmm.
Like being able to see all my aunts, uncles, best of friends, and family friends, and it's just to sit back and be like, wow, these people really have been a huge impact. And I want to like, I can't like if that when that time comes, like I'll definitely try and let everybody know I'm very appreciative of everybody because I am. Like even when I said the bachelor party, everybody was there is a big part of who I am today,
Mm-hmm.
and that boils down to even you. You know what I mean? Like we've only been friends for like 2-3 years, but it's like the impact that we've had in each other's lives has been changing. You know what I mean? Life changing. So and everybody has that ability to impact each other's lives, which is what I love about just partnership. Like Selena's changed my life tremendously. Like before her, dude, whew, I was trying to adult and I was not adulting the right way.
Yeah.
And so she like guided me down a better path, and I give her so much like credit and props to being the perfect support team I needed with like all the stuff I've ever put myself through. And that's what I feel like is important in a partner. Like, what would you like as far as? Let me ask you this question: what is some like powerful and important components of a partner that you look for?
I mean, right now, we've talked about this many times, but my current life situation is I'm working on myself to get where I want to be at.
Mhm.
So I think for me, at the stage right now, is somebody who's going to be supportive, someone who is going to be understanding and patient with what I got going on. And it's something that I do have. Even we're on this path right now where we have our own stuff going on, and that's a whole nother topic. But that's beautiful in itself. But for me, it's just to understand that I have someone in my corner I can rely on and lean on, and the morals and everything. We could get into that stuff too. Um, but I think someone who I can go to at the end of the day and realize that this is who I have, and they got my back. As corny as it may sound, man, like it's true.
Yeah, it's
Like,
loyalty. Like you
right.
expect loyalty, like
Hmm.
kind of like what was it, 21 Savage? He said, "I'd rather have loyalty than love."
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Which I mean, I want both. I love loyalty and I have loyalty to love. I guess you can put it that way. But or with love comes loyalty, at least in my definition of it. So having that someone that could be loyal and loving is that's all you could ask for,
Yeah.
and forgiveness. Man, if I didn't forgive Selena or she didn't forgive me, forgive me, bro. Oh my gosh, we wouldn't be here today. We
Yeah.
wouldn't be talking about this today. It's you gotta choose your battles. What's worth really getting in a fuss over,
Hmm.
and what's if it is, you gotta have a talk. But if not, most of the time it's just little things that get blown out of proportion and the honest truth.
So if you had to single one thing out to like, at least with your situation, not specific, but like, what is something that absolutely non-negotiable needs to have in a relationship for it to get to a point where there is a wedding?
Uh, Whew, that's a good question.
Is it loyalty? Is it trust? Communication? Forgiveness?
I would say I would probably say loyalty because loyalty, I feel like you get all those things. It's like I want someone that's going to be able to be there when I'm, down and be supportive, and then also like not only just pick me up but push me when I don't want to be pushed.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's kind of be like my other point of discipline. We did the 75 hard and we didn't want to do certain workouts, but like someone that keeps you accountable. You like we look for that in our friendships, like how you and I have. But if in a partner, it's all that in one. You get a best friend, you get a lover, you get you know a like a accountability system, you get a life partner. Like okay, I didn't do the dishes today. I bet you should let me know tomorrow. You know what I mean? Not
Right.
in a bad way, but it's
Right.
like
No, yeah, I
say
get you.
vice versa. It's like I didn't, get what I need to do, like get done around the, like like tax season or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I did, because I did fine, but I know that if I were to slip up in any type of way, and that she would have my back. So that all boils down to loyalty. Is at the end of the day, like I want my partner to worry about my success just as much as hers,
Yeah.
because that's how I am. Like I would put her happiness over mine, because if you're not happy, I can't be happy. Because then that's not only down the road could affect, you know, emotionally a partner, but in general, like it's so hard to love someone when they don't love who they are. And we're always changing. That's okay in life, but and that's the truth of life. But being able to actually adapt and love that person as they're growing and changing is huge. Because are you the same person you were 5 years ago? No.
Absolutely not.
Right. That's why we always look back at pictures of ourselves and we're like, man, that kid was an idiot. you know?
Yeah.
Not even an idiot, but you know what I mean.
Right.
Like
Right.
if he knew then what I know now, it would be so much different. But life teaches you.
I think the reason why I'm not trying to say too much about all this stuff because, like, man, I don't got all the answers for like relationship wise and stuff
No, I
like
don't
that. But
either. Shoot, it's an everyday process.
yeah, I can see that. I'm just I don't want to like be a hypocrite on here and like say this is what needs to be done or this is what works. Like, man, it's
Yeah, it's like whatever works for you, but without basic, like everyone's idea of love and relationships is different,
right.
But like I never would want to lay my hands on a woman. I never. I was raised never to do that, and I never will.
Mm-hmm.
But like morals, like in the Bible, it says, once you become married, you guys become one. You become family. And I think I've elaborated on this before. Your parents aren't related genetically like you and your siblings are. They created your family. And so that's how powerful the bond of marriage is. It's
Yeah.
two people that from two different walks of life create their own family. And that allows you to blossom and create the life that you've always wanted with a partner. If that someone wants to be with a partner. I mean, that's what you and I are talking about. I'm sure you want to be, you have dreams of a happy, love-filled marriage.
Ooh, yeah.
So it's like, and I do too. So that's something I've, hold, pride to. Like that holds value. If I can't have a strong marriage and healthy and happy, that's going to affect my whole life. Like I'm with this person. I'm going to devote. I found the person I want to devote my life to and be with every step of the way. You know?
And it's I'm trying to reflect on everything you're saying. Like I said, I'm not trying to because I've definitely messed up with relationships. I mean,
Oh, I have
yeah,
too,
it's
man.
part of life. Like
You
it's
learn, you live and you
yeah.
learn. Like I've been the toxic ex-boyfriend multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
And it's calling yourself out for that is huge. And that's something you have to look yourself in the mirror and tell
Yeah.
yourself, like, was that really right? Was that okay? Was I the proper person for that? Even though they might have done this, I really shouldn't have done that anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
And like, I was talking to my brother about, my brother Dan, and I asked him like, well, what's some words of advice for marriage and everything? And he was like, enjoy the hard times. It's hard to, see what they're developing in those times, but don't just wait for the hard times to go past. They're making something great. So just embrace it.
Yeah.
It can't, you can't let it like just, everybody like, oh, I don't want this to happen. I can't wait for this to be over. Why? You know, it's just like doing a push up and you're on like you're doing 4 sets of 50 and you're on that set number 49 of the fourth set. You're like, okay, this sucks. Well, you got to keep on pushing and embracing the pain if you want to actually get stronger. That goes with all walks of life. You know,
So what about that perspective on it? Like enjoy the hard times, like in a relationship, like portion of it. Like what about going through the hard times with somebody?
this actually, I'm glad you asked that, because everybody like wants to. What I've like found helpful and useful with my relationship is when you're arguing, is it really like when you're arguing one versus one, it's usually egos combating each other.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But an argument really is just you and your partner versus the obstacle in the way. Like, yeah, this is trying to divide us, but marriage and partnership, like you gotta see how you guys maneuver those problems together, because it's you and I versus the problem, not you and versus me. You
Yeah.
know?
I've said that so many times.
Yeah. So it's like
Yeah.
trying to be self-aware enough in those conversations. Like, is this really like, am I really need to argue this, or is this just something like where's the solution in this? Because ultimately, all you're looking for is a solution.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and even an argument with your parents, You just either want to be heard or, you want to justify your case. And if it gets to the point where you're being selfish and it's like, no, this is just for me, that's where you got to, kind of check yourself. But, situation's a situation. You might be being gypped out, but, trying to see yourself in other people's shoes in an argument is also key. I mean, like, if you're thinking only solely on how you think and what you want them to say or what you want them to do, that all boils down to expectations. You can't have any expectations. You got to find out where they're at and then meet them in a place where you guys can both be happy.
Yeah.
You know?
That's something my oldest brother had told me too. I was, just brothers just talking about brother things, whatever's
Yeah,
going on.
yeah.
But he was always telling me like, you gotta speak in a tone to where it's not gonna escalate the situation. So like, and it's kind of funny because like whenever I'm asking him stuff, he'll like give me advice, but it's like, dude, you don't even know. Like, like how old are you? I'm 20. You're like, dude, you don't even know. But then when I'm talking to my little brothers, I'm saying the same thing. Like, look, this is usually how it goes. This is what happened to me. This is what I did after that situation.
Yeah.
How old are you? Man, you don't even know. So it's like, it's kind of like this. I mean, it's whatever's going to happen with your situation. Not every relationship is the same. There's a lot of same trends in relationships.
Yeah.
But to kind of circle back, like my brother, he was always just kind of telling me, like, you got to remember, you guys are going through something for a reason. Don't forget the reason that you guys aren't battling each other. You got to speak in a certain tone where it's not coming back to me versus you, because in the situation, it already won.
Exactly. This girl, it's just as clingy as Selena, if not more. Look at that. Gotta zoom in on that one. She probably wants to go potty or something, but you see, she looked at me real quick. You went potty over there. For the people listening, she just had an accident, and Daddy is not happy. So, yeah, look at her sniffing it.
Going to the crime scene.
Right, exactly. But yeah, man, that's all it is. Just trying to find a solution. That's what all problems are.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't. You got to team together to get around it. And it's not necessarily like, all right, said hike, go out for a pass. Let's get around this, this tight end or not tight end, defensive back. But you know, you just gotta open your mind. Just be open minded.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you have an issue with something, I'm gonna try and find out where your method of thinking is, how you think, how you operate, so that I can actually have a little bit of I don't know, justification maybe is the word to use, just to or understanding of just
Yeah.
how your mind's working. That's all it is. Because everybody thinks differently. It's just putting yourself in those person's shoes.
I mean, that goes back to when I asked you, like, what do you think is the non-negotiable in relationships?
Yeah,
You said loyalty. I'm almost leaning towards communication, and that
absolutely.
like that doesn't even mean like relationship in the sense of girlfriend, wife. I think that's with anything. Um, I think like you were talking about, I'm not trying to like overcomplicate it, but just
Oh, you go.
understanding where someone's coming from. So it's not that me versus you type thing.
Yeah,
So I can understand if you don't tell me what's going on, that what I'm doing is bothering you, I'm gonna keep on doing it, and I'm not even meaning to do it. So now there's tension building up.
yeah. It's not like you're intentionally doing it just to stomp out an ant,
Right.
but the problems aren't solved unless you communicate. Which honestly, you might be changing my answer. Yeah, loyalty for sure, but you can't get through anything without communication.
Because it's like with no communication, there's no trust. With no trust, there's no loyalty. No loyalty, there's no love.
Yeah,
So
man.
like,
Honestly, yeah, I would have to agree with you.
and it's like I said, it doesn't have to be like a dating relationship. Like if it's a coach, right? Like we kind of talked about earlier, if a coach isn't getting on you for doing something wrong,
Yeah,
he just kind of brushes you off. Like, dude, he don't
you
like
don't care.
right. He don't care, and then you don't know what you need to do to get better,
Exactly.
and it could
It
be
needs to be communicated
right.
because if people are expecting you to get better and they don't tell you, how are you supposed to benefit the team?
Exactly.
You
Or
know,
if it's in the weight room and the strength coach, he's not correcting your form, he's not communicating that to you, like you're not getting better. If it's
exactly.
parents, if your parent is letting you go around doing dumb stuff and being bad or this, that, whatever, and they're not telling you
Disciplining
from
you.
right to wrong or
Yeah.
discipline, like if there's no communication of what not to do in certain situations, you're gonna keep on digging at yourself in a hole. And then if
Exactly.
you're going back to the dating relationship, like I mean, like I said, I don't want to get too overcomplicated with it, but like communication, it's you're spending so much time with somebody. There has to
Right.
be some sort of, hey, I didn't like when this happened. Okay, why? Okay, now I know not to move that way.
Right. And it all starts with like even how each person is raised. Once you understand how a person is raised, then you get a really firm understanding of how that person is. Because like think about how your parents raised you.
Mm-hmm.
Like your morals and the way that you live your life day in day out is solely from what morals and habits, like we talked about in the last podcast, your parents instilled in you.
Mm-hmm.
It boils down to just how like they communicated what they needed you to do as a young kid, and it's crazy to even think about that. Like, I guess we could roll into it now.
Yeah, go ahead,
I
man.
mean, guys, we have some pretty big news. One of us just joined. No, I'll just say it. We'll do that little video later. But we have some big news. So a few weeks ago, my fiance and I just found out that we are having a baby. We're
Dang.
having a baby, dude. They have a baby girl. A baby girl. That's been a trend in my family. It's been mostly girls. So I'm adding to the trend. But yeah, we're
Man,
having come November, we'll be having a baby girl. Praying God gives us a healthy
man,
uh,
it'll be good, man.
8 pound, 11 ounce baby.
I mean, I told you many times, but it's a huge blessing, man. Congratulations again. Like
Thank you.
with that being said, man, like what's what was how'd you find out, and what were the initial emotions that came with that?
Man, so we had miscarriage in the past. And so we were, not sure how that was going to, the whole, like, what is the future? Selena's had her health concerns and stuff like that. Like, it, and it happened in the past, and it was very stressful, and a lot of struggle went in through that. And I didn't know how that she felt, so I had to go and just be there for her.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's honestly, this girl really helped. If you're going through depression,
Get a
you
dog.
need a dog. She'll be there for you no matter what, or he. But future question, like as far as how I found out, I was actually at work, and she came and surprised me with a Nike. Occasionally, she'll come and do that, which is always nice to see this bundle of joy running towards me. And she asked me to come out to the car, and it was nighttime, so I was expecting her just to come in and kind of hang out and just talk. Well, she told me to come to the car, and I walk out there, and I I don't know. Both times, I want to say I had a feeling. It was like a weird, like you had that voice in your head tell you certain things.
Yeah.
Like, oh, she came around unexpected. Like she didn't tell me she was coming. Like she might have like a surprise to tell me. So she goes into the back seat, grabs a box, opens it, and it's a positive. And
Dang.
I was like, are you serious? Are you serious? Like I was just in shock.
Yeah.
Because like we both didn't know what the future had in store with that when it came to that for us, and it was such a hard thing for her. And I was, you know, not like obviously I was overjoyed, I was happy, but I was more happy for her because I know how that affects her. The insecurities and self doubt that she had in herself, and it was just it was a beautiful feeling, just
Yeah.
because you could see how excited she was in her face. It
Yeah.
just lit up, and she was like, "Man, we get married in like 3 months. Crap." It's like it'll be fun, but at the same time, we're both so excited.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
good.
it was God blessed us, and that's partially why we gave her the name that she is going to have, Amina Mariella, and Mariella means a gift of child in Latin, and that's going to be her middle name. Her first name will be Amina, which is Italian for soul, because we fell in love listening to soul music, and so it was like, oh,
right,
perfect. You know what I mean? And it sounds nice.
yeah.
And then you have like my last name, Amina Mariella Burke. Like, man, it's so pretty, and then you have a Burke. And the crazy thing about the last name Burke, from the research I've done, it means to strangle. Like, I'm gonna burk you. Like, geez, hey, relax.
Really?
Yeah. At least that's one of the definitions of it. There's
Wow.
multiple. There's good ones, but people have always told me the bad ones.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not always, but that's one that stuck in my mind as far as what it means. But yeah, Mina Mariella, man,
That's
it's
beautiful, man.
it's I can't wait. And I'm gonna learn a lot about myself when it comes with being a father. Like how we said, like our parents taught us morals, and like as far as that, let me ask you this: when it comes to you, like what important morals and habits you think your parents instilled in you, and how did they do it? Do you believe in like? I'll wait for you. Answer the question.
No, it might sound like cliche, but like definitely was not quitting something, especially if you already started it,
Mm-hmm.
because being involved with sports, and I did not like baseball. Never really have. I don't know why.
And you committed.
Right. So it was, but I remember it'd be to the point where I would always have practice at the most inconvenient times as a kid. Like we're
Yeah.
all outside playing in the street, and I get a call that you got to go to practice. And then if
You're
it's
like,
not a team practice, I got extra hitting, I got extra defense work. So I hated it so bad, dude. It's like to the point where I'm this little kid, like in tears. I'm like missing my cousin's birthday party at my grandma's house, like dude, stuff like that
oh,
for a tournament that's an hour and a half away.
yeah.
But I remember I used to get so upset, and I'm like, I don't want to play no more. And it's from both my dad and my mom, but they're just like, too bad. Like instead of like, okay,
You keep digging.
but no, they instilled that as a kid, and my mom. I remember a conversation that I had with my mom when I was young too. She was like, she told me you can't quit. You already started, and I was like, well, what is that supposed to mean? I don't want to I don't want to do no more. She was like, well, you have to finish what you started. And like I said, it might sound cliche, whatever, but it stuck so hard with me. And then my dad's perspective on it was he was telling me because if you quit in baseball, you're gonna quit in football, you're gonna quit later on in life. And then that's like, dude, and with you got a kid coming along, can you
Yeah.
imagine if you quit on 1,000 different things earlier in life?
Right.
You're gonna start building that bad habit, like the last podcast,
Right.
building that bad habit of quitting on things. And it's just like now, no matter what it is, if I started 75 hard, I'm on day 2 and I fail, I gotta restart. If I'm on day 23, I gotta restart.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm telling myself I'm gonna do it and already started, I I'm not wired that way now where I can walk away.
Yeah.
I'm not content with it.
That's great. Honestly, that's a great way of teaching it to you too. Like, it shows you the long term. Like them making you stay the rest of the season. Like that could last a long time. Like, that you could have said that, and you had like maybe 5 weeks left.
Bro, I didn't even have my uniform yet.
So you had the whole season.
Dude.
So you went through the whole thing, and that just shows like that probably gave you the discipline. That not probably that gave you the discipline that you have.
It sure did. And the way that they went about it too, it wasn't like they were cradling me or like kissing me on the forehead and like, well, you have to fit it. It was just flat out, all right,
Gotta get it.
Like, I don't care how you feel for the most. They didn't say it like that, but
Yeah.
hindsight, it's just like dude, I don't care. Like, you have to finish it. And like, you're a little kid, your parents tell you something you don't agree with, you're just balling up fish, you're crying for no reason.
Temper tantrum, stomping your
Right.
feet, slamming the door.
But it's one of the things you just appreciate. Like, it's the way they handled it and the way they went about it. It's like, you okay, like, you can keep on crying, finish getting dressed, we gotta leave.
Right.
I mean, that it gave me the discipline, like you said. It helped me kind of build that for myself, and definitely something that I'm gonna pass down, God willing. But I guess to kind of flip this back onto you, what is something that your parents gave you that you, without a doubt, want to pass on to your kids?
Um, I would say consistency with my dad. One thing I always noticed when with him would be he got up every single day at the same time, and no matter what, went to work, got the job done, even when he was sick. And he would come home, especially whether if it was winter, spring, summer, and he would keep doing. He would go take care of the lawn right away. Get keep the house pristine. Like he would just everything he did it with intent and consistency. Like there was no, I'll do that later. Like if he needed it done, he would do it then and at that point. And just seeing that drive with the things that he was passionate about, like there was never a day in the summer that would go by that that man didn't have a spit shining car. And he would, if there was a little bit of mud splatter on it, like after a drive, the dude is going. Somebody called OCD, but he would go and you good, you good, girl. But yeah, there he would just be consistent and get what he needed done, no matter what. Oh man, hey, be careful. That's a scratch that she got the other day. No, 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 no. It's okay.
Not messing with it, huh?
Yeah, it's okay. No, no, no. She so bad. I felt so bad. On the side door where it goes into the other unit.
Yeah.
Hey, no, 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 no. You're gonna infect it. And I don't need to get a cone for you, do I? But she was walking up this little stair. There was like two stairs, and she completely missed the first step.
Oh,
Smacked her face on the cement step right in front of her, and was trying to gather her steps and scraped her back of like her, what do you want to call that, knee or whatever you want to call that, on the pavement, and it ripped her skin off. And you could just tell she felt like crap because as soon as we got into the unit, my dad was like, "What's wrong with her?" And her tail was like right in between her legs, just moping around. I felt so bad. It's a dog. You can't. Yeah, they don't even half the time they don't even let you know like what's hurting and stuff like that. But it was so obvious to see that.
Yeah.
Get her shedding all over the hair, dude. Oh my gosh, like almost all over your J's.
I brushed them off.
But yeah, back to what we were saying. As far as like what I want to bring, what I want to teach my kids, my parents taught me. As far as my mother goes, just selfless love. She did everything she could for the kids. It would, if we needed to go to like, practice, she would devote her life just to getting us to where we needed to go. Tournaments, AAU tournaments, sports, choir, band practice, all that stuff was just devoted and wanted nothing but our success and was just willing to help us get there. But, at the end of the day, like there's always stuff that, you know, you when you get raised, you're like, I don't want to have my kid go through that. You know what I mean? The hard things. And as far as that goes, like what are some things that, you know, you think not necessarily because I know you love your parents, but like what's something that you don't want your kids to go through that you went through?
I don't, I don't know. Torn labrums.
Injury. Or I guess
uh,
maybe not even have them not go through, but like, what do you want to even either help them not have to go through, or like be a person that they can go out for certain situations? You know what I mean?
yeah. I would say like I think because with my family, we're not like a very emotional family,
Yeah.
so it's kind of I mean a house full of boys and
Yeah.
like my dad's family background. It's not really an emotional like household, but I kind of appreciate that in a sense because it's like that gave me the foundation without even realizing it, where I don't need to rely on somebody else.
Yeah.
But at the same time, though, I think with even looking at my oldest brother, he has 3 kids, and he's very like on sync with his daughter,
Mm-hmm.
and she's now getting to the age where she's seeing a lot of things, may not understand what's going on, but like later down the road type thing.
Yeah.
But he's very in tune with how she feels, what's going on, and if something's going on, he could call her, or she could call him if he's not with her, or they could sit down and talk, and not like anything specific wise, but like kind of just having that type of relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And it might just be because it's a girl, it's his
Yeah, it's a
daughter,
different. Your mom didn't have a girl,
right?
so it's like he had to. You never got to experience that type of parenting as a child,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that's something that you're seeing. Like, oh, if I have a girl, like that's something I want to really do.
Yeah, dude,
So,
I told her too. I was like, man, like I don't even. I've always wanted boys, but since you had a girl, man, it's just like it's different. I don't know. I kind of like I'm different. I don't got to be this hard nose. I get to have fun and
relax.
get my nails painted and stuff like that. My niece,
Right,
like it's
right.
never thought I'd be doing that, but
I want to say it. I was. That's funny you say that. At work yesterday during the evening before I went to bed, my niece called me. Her name's Phoenix. We call her Fifi. And she is like, "Hey, can I call you?" And so she FaceTimes me, and she starts screen sharing because she's young, so she's like all up on those tablet games and everything right now. And she is playing this dress up game, and it's like an app, obviously, and it's like a contest for models. Like you dress your model up, and they go up, and everybody that's playing gets to vote who's the top three, and then the percentages, blah blah blah, whoever wins. And so she's walking around in this beauty shop, getting all these outfits on in her little app. And I'm just sitting there like, this ain't really something I care for, but just for my niece, I was like, I need to be enthusiastic and be a cool Uncle Reed. Like, oh man, like, so I'm sitting here, that hat looks nice, and like, there was one. It was crazy that she even knew these people. I'm happy she does, but it was like basically make an outfit inspired by a historical figure, and first person she said was Abraham Lincoln. Yeah, I was like, Abraham Lincoln, okay. And then she was like, "Well, wait, no, who is the lady that was in the back of the bus that stood up for her rights?" And I was like, "Rosa Parks," and she's like, "Yeah." But yeah, like I just thought it was crazy that she was was thinking of, it just had an idea who those people were. You know what I mean? And just to be like 8 years old and actually know who they are, our history teachers are doing something right.
so with you having that relationship with your niece, what would you say that you're most excited about of becoming a girl dad?
I would have to say probably the accountability, because like as a father, you want your daughter to, you know, marry or date good men. or boys, whoever, teenagers, whoever it is, and girl is gonna base her type on how her father is, who he is as a man, as a person, how he treats his wife, how he treats their mother.
Mhm.
And so just by seeing like how I could have an impact on that, it holds me accountable to become better all in all because, I don't want her to, I want ultimately for her to be happy,
Right.
but I don't want her dating someone that's going to be rude to her, abusive, or in any type of form, physically, mentally, emotionally. And that all goes with how I treat her mother and even how I live a day to day life. How consistent am I? Like, am I going to just be a couch potato who doesn't do anything and doesn't show a good, like a good example of what a man should be? And that even goes for having a boy too.
Yeah, I was just about to ask, like, what do you think would be the difference if you had a boy?
Yeah, I think it's just being the best example you can as a man because you're also, yeah, I'm showing them the daughter, like my daughter, how a gentleman should be, but also you're showing your sons how you should be, like how a gentleman should be to their wife.
Yeah.
Because your definition of what a marriage and love is strongly influenced by your parents.
Yeah.
Whether it's exactly the example or you tell yourself, I'm not going to do that when it comes to my wife. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like we all have those things that we want to bring, like how we were talking about from what our parents raised us with. Whether it's good stuff you want to bring to them,
Yeah.
or stuff that you don't. And we talked about that earlier. But yeah, it's just ultimately like being able to say I've become the best man I can be as a husband, father, and even son. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's definitely on a deeper level, like how you might have thought I'd have a different answer, but just it's a huge accountability system because
Mhm.
they see how you go through each trial in life and how you respond to it, and that's how they might respond.
Absolutely.
What were we talking about after that?
I think it was like tradition or something.
Oh yeah, yeah. But this is something I wanted to ask you. So when it comes to you talked about before here how you were in a room with like your grandma and she was just really happy about where she was at. Like, can you dive into like how like because that even has a huge effect on just like you have that power.
Mhm.
But can you elaborate a little bit more, like so the
Yeah.
viewers can
So
hear?
we were at my grandmother's house, and my great grandmother, she's like the head of the family for that side of the family, where she moved to Puerto Rico at a young age, and that's kind of where the Ramos family started. But she's the life of the party for sure. And my grandma, man, she's my grandma, dude. I don't know how to, like, you could ask my family members, but
Yeah,
she's amazing. But so at the beginning of the night or the party, whatever's going on, she'll always be like outgoing, fun, whatever, messing with people. But then towards like later in the night, she was sitting in this chair, and I go like, Grandma, like what's going on? Like, what are you doing? And then she's just kind of just sitting back, smiling. She's like, look at this. And there's little kids running around. My dad, my uncles are playing cards, gambling, whatever they're doing. People are playing on the pool table. My mom is sitting with my cousins, my aunt, like they're all just sitting down talking. She's like, this is my family. Like, this is what makes me happy. Like, just look at this. And it's that kind of put into perspective for me, where it's just like, that's what I want to be for myself in life, one point where I can sit
yeah,
back and see this bond that everybody has that came from my grandmother and my grandfather.
right.
Like, it started from somewhere, which is why I value family moral so closely is because that's what I had growing up for my life. Like I had the blessing for that, where she was kind of just telling me at a young age to sit back and just look. So I'm sitting with my grandma. It's kind of like that movie scene where everything's quiet, but there's so much going on around you.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at everyone's facial expressions as they're running around playing tag. Everybody's laughing, throwing cards on the table, grabbing money, grabbing poker chips. Everybody's yelling, talking with their hands with my mom and my cousins, my aunt. It's just like,
It's all in slow motion for
right.
you.
But it's just like that. It meant something to me because it's like, this is my family. This is my life. This is all I've known. So I don't want it to be anything different from that.
Right. You want to be able to spread that to your future family.
Yeah.
You want to have
Yeah.
that moment that your grandma had in that moment.
Mhm.
Like, and that all starts, I feel like, with tradition. Like, as far as that goes, like, what are some traditions that you like want to instill or keep going with? Is when it comes time for you to be the person that brings them to the next generation.
Yeah, I mean, going back to like the reason why we're always getting together was like for the holidays or events that are going on in somebody's life. Like we always had the family involved. So I guess just getting together with the right people, like whenever we want to.
He's listening. But yeah, no, I hear you. Like,
Mm,
this being able to like Nike's really interested in Christian right now. But just being able to share the love of family.
yeah.
Like un what's the word I want to use? I don't know. But just a unconditional love. Like no matter what. Like yeah, people can get on each other's nerves. But at the end of the day, like you gotta have your back. Like you gotta have your family's back. Because at the end of the day, that's all you got.
Yeah.
You have your family and you have, like how like Selena, when you find your partner, like that's who you really have, like
Hmm.
that person that's going to be with you day in and day out, and being able to create what your grandma has created and your ancestors. Oh, thank you. Hey, you're okay. She hears my data.
Scared the crap out of me, bro.
Hey, okay. It's okay.
Bro, you're not cool, Nike.
Why are you talking back to him? Why are you talking back to Christian, huh? You like Christian. Get out of here. But yeah, like for me, like I want to make sure that we have like growing up for me, like you were saying, like upstairs, you had your like grandmas or something to go to on Christmas Eve.
Hmm.
Like, the most exciting part, like for me, I always had my aunt and uncles. They were my
Yeah.
godparents, and they would always have Christmas Eve over there, and my uncle would dress up as Santa for the
Yeah.
kids and like run around the house, and he'd throw us in the Santa bag, and like
Hmm.
mess with us, and like just being a kid and being so excited for that type of stuff, and seeing like he got older, and my brother, one of my brothers, inherited. I shouldn't say inherited, but took on the Santa duty.
That
So
role,
now
yeah.
he one of my brothers is Santa every year and does the same thing, but now it's at my brother's house, my other brother. And just seeing how my nieces and nephews light up because they know every year Santa's coming.
Yeah.
And like they would have me look at like the BlackBerry phone. I don't know if you remember that when I was a kid. And there on that phone they had like an app. It was called Santa Tracker. So you would put your location where you were,
Hmm.
and you would set a time for when you wanted Santa to arrive,
Yeah.
so that it could look legit to a kid's eye that Santa's coming.
Yeah.
And so they would always show me, oh, Santa's over here. He's on Skyline. Oh, he's on
Right.
Ashland. And it's like I remember being excited and seeing that with my nieces and nephews. Like I can't wait for my daughter to experience
Yeah.
that, and like my future kids. It was like I
Uh,
said to you, like we want to have as many kids as we can by the age of 30, and that's just what we want to do.
yeah.
Like just because we want to enjoy the youthfulness of
Yeah.
being with like my kids, and not making sure they all have a good amount of time with me and their mother, because I didn't really have that. Like I said earlier, like my brother was 16 years old, is 16 years older than me, so he has 16 years on me, not necessarily on me, but like more time with my parents.
Yeah.
And that's not time you can give back. I love my parents to death. I love you guys, but it's just I don't. As far as that goes, I want to make sure that I can be there in my kids' lives as long as I can and see my
Right.
grandkids, maybe even great grandkids. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's the crazy thing in life. Like right now, Selena's great, no, her grandmother is gonna see us have a kid,
Yeah.
and that's what she really wanted. Hey, Becca, you okay? That's what she really wanted. Like, because now, like, she's gonna be able to see her great grandchild.
Mhm.
That's crazy. Like my
Yeah.
grandparents were 90. They passed away when they were 90, and I was like 8 years old. So like, I don't really like. I
Yeah.
have memories with them, but like, they didn't get to see me graduate and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like it's like yeah, that's stuff that I want for my grandkids and stuff to get wisdom from not just their parents, but multiple generations.
Right. I think with me, I know I want a family for sure. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm ready for it whenever that comes across.
Right.
I don't want to rush it. I don't want to kind of
God's
do that
timing.
right.
Yeah.
100%. But I always look around and be like, yeah, I want 6 kids. I want to start in 5 plus a 6 family a year.
Right.
But not.
Cheaper by the dozen.
But no, I think it's something I just growing up seeing my family being super close. So I just want that to kind of carry forward. But
Heck yeah. And then just being the man that you want to be for them, you know?
I know examples.
That's one thing I've thought about even now. I might be a little too far ahead of myself, but like with having a kid now, if they have kids, like what I want to be called.
Uh,
Yeah, because that's like what now we're talking. Now
yeah.
we're talking with her parents and my parents. It's like, what do you guys want to be called? Like my dad likes being called Pop Pop, and then my mom likes being called Lovey.
Mm.
And with her parents, I'm not even sure what they want to be called. I guess we'll have to find out later. But like I always call my grandma. She was Italian, so we called her Nonna.
uh,
And that's just what you call your grandmother in Italian. And so I'm like, oh, call me. What's it called? Nono. What's up, buddy? But yeah, you call a grandpa Nono,
uh,
and so that might be something. But I think that's a wrap for today. Um, Thank you for listening, and I hope you guys are excited to hear the news as much as I was to share it with you guys. We will be back next week, every Saturday, and you'll be seeing a newly married man when this is dropped. So she put a ring on it. No, but this is Reed Burke.
Christian Ramos.
You are listening to Built for Purpose podcast. Stay safe.